Planet Dolan.
From forming a schoolyard gang to being a little too into Sonic, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about our cringiest school memories. I'm Pringle the One, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Danger Mouse Dolan. In high school, Spinal Palm was in a class that was full of girls. One day they had to give a speech, but the only other guy in the class was away. Spinal Palm was nervous, but he got up in front of his class full of girls and began his presentation. About 3 minutes in, one of the girls decided it was appropriate time to interrupt the nervous Spinal Palm and call out,
"Hey, your zipper's down!"
Spinal Palm looked down and zipped it up as quick as he could, but it was too late. The whole class was already giggling at him. He had to suck it up and finish his presentation, but by that point, he was so shaken up that his voice and body were trembling. Looking back on that memory, he wishes he could punch his former self. Number 9 was submitted by Dave the Skeleton 09. Sidious's cringiest school memory happened on the last day of the school year. The whole school was in the auditorium listening to boring speeches when suddenly the entire 5th grade came on stage to give a surprise hip-hop performance. Sidious's jaw dropped as a tidal wave of cringe swept over him. The 5th graders were performing the Flo Rida song, My House, except they rewritten the lyrics to be about school life. They called it My School. There was bad rapping and cheesy choreographed dancing. It was like an awkward, beautiful car crash. Sidious had never faced palm so hard in his whole life. Number 8 was submitted by SmolToxin. When Melissa was in middle school, her school made a very embarrassing attempt to appeal to its students. It was like one day the teacher said, "Hey, I hear kids today are really into emojis. We should throw lots of emoji crap at them." What followed was the most embarrassing fundraiser Melissa has ever seen. The school went emoji crazy, displaying emoji artwork, giving emoji charms and pillows for good behavior, and changing fries in the school cafeteria into emoji fries. The aim of the fundraiser was to get kids to follow the school's Snapchat account, but the whole thing was so cringy it almost turned the students off social media forever. Number 7 was submitted by Turtle Mode 004. Helbin's cringiest school memory was the time he and his 4 friends formed a gang. They called themselves the Tactical Toasters and would patrol the school grounds wearing bandanas over their faces. They made some cringy homemade badges and would hang around the playground giving other kids a hard time. Looking back, Helbin realizes he was just another cringy little punk. Number 6 was submitted by Taverdoo. Nixium's cringiest school memory happened when he was in 6th grade. He had this huge crush on a girl in his class, but had no game whatsoever. Every time she looked in his direction, Nixium would turn his head away really obviously and refuse to make eye contact. It was so bad that sometimes he'd stare at a wall while walking down a corridor just to avoid looking at her. Obviously, Nixium's crush noticed him, and one day she straight out asked him, "Why do you never look at me?" Nixium was trying so hard to be cool that he shrugged his shoulders and said,
I don't know, babe, because I'm bored."
The girl took this as a sign he didn't like her, and basically never talked to him again. Luckily, Nixium has gotten a lot better with the ladies since then. Number 5 was submitted by Pink Hearts. When Spinces was in 3rd grade, she was too afraid to go into the girls' bathroom by herself because she thought it was haunted. One day in the middle of class, she really needed to go, so she asked the teacher if she could be excused to use the bathroom. Of course, everyone was in the class at the time, so the bathrooms were completely empty. Spinces was terrified of going in alone, so she just walked around the hallway trying to find the courage. In the end, she couldn't do it, so she just walked back to her classroom still needing to pee. She couldn't ask to go to the bathroom again, so she just sat in the chair trying desperately to hold it in. In the end, she peed in her chair and was sent to the principal's office for a change of pants. Spinces was so embarrassed and cried when the other kids made fun of her. Looking back, she can't believe she was ever scared of a stupid toilet. Number 4 was submitted by Bitey Bat. In the 5th grade, Dolan had a cringy friend who was way too into Sonic games. This friend was obsessed with everything Sonic and was always talking about the games and the characters. It got so bad that when Dolan's class held a talent show, the kid went on stage in a terrible homemade Sonic costume. His entire act involved running back and forth across the stage, shouting, "Gotta go fast!" At the end, he tried to do a flip but ended up leaping off the stage into the auditorium. He fell straight on his ass, and the whole school laughed at him. After this performance, Dolan had to seriously reevaluate this friendship. It's why he now prefers Mario to Sonic. A wise decision. Number 3 was submitted by boyfightcookout. Gergek has never been the most socially graceful person, but looking back, one particular memory from high school makes him cringe. He was on his way to the cafeteria when he passed a girl from one of his classes. Guryak was in a good mood that day, so he decided to pay her a compliment. He opened his mouth and the words, "You're real pretty for someone fat," came spilling out. The poor girl was shocked, and the other students around him stared at Guryak like he had something wrong with his brain. Guryak immediately put his hands to his mouth and rushed straight out of the cafeteria. It was not his finest moments. Number 2 was submitted by Erwin98. In middle school, Zaraganba was one of the first kids in his class to get himself a girlfriend. One day she invited him over after school to have a bounce on a trampoline. It was going great when she decided to go inside and get them some drinks. Zaraganba decided to stay outside and keep jumping. He realized he really needed to fart, so he said to himself,
Hey, why not let one out while she's inside?
Unfortunately, when he went to let one rip, the force of his bouncing caused Zaraganba to crap his pants. He could smell it instantly. It was the unmistakable stench of dookie. Zaraganba knew he couldn't face his girlfriend, so he bounced his poo-stained ass off that trampoline and sprinted home. When he thinks back on that memory, his butthole clenches up from the sheer force of the cringe. Number 1 was submitted by me, your narrator, Pringle the One. The cringiest school memory I had was during my time in 9th grade. I was walking to class and I had a friend. His name was Jobo. He'd always be running and being late to class, but it was this one time in particular that he was really late. I saw him running, and as soon as he was running, he put out his phone, he put some Japanese Naruto music, and he just started running with the wind. I told him, "Hey Jobo, what's the rush?" And he said to me, "I'm late for class." He started doing weird hand gestures, and I don't know if he was in a gang or he was watching a little bit too much Naruto and he was trying to save the Leaf Village. In reality, he was just late for science class, but he made such a ruckus. This dude was feeling himself and everything. He had his arms back and he was feeling his inner shinobi. I'll never forget that day. That day he even went up to me and he told me this: "I'm not going to class late, no jutsu!" And he poofed. And by poof, I mean he ran so fast to class that he barely made it on time. It was so cringy, and I always knew Jobo was a definite weirdo. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the craziest thing you've done for attention? Let us know on the Reddit page link below, and you might be featured in a future countdown.
This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Peace.